What are we drinking first?
Oh.
Hey, welcome to Unloose the Goose. Well, our friend Nicole has caught the thing that will not be named, so our channel stays up. She's doing okay. She helped me get the stream up. Actually, we are on Nicole's Living Free and Tennessee. We're on their Odyssey and I believe Float, and we're on the Unloose the Goose YouTube. So if you guys ask questions in all caps on the YouTube, either of the two YouTube streams, we will see them here live, and I can click them up on the screen and add them into the show. So we'll do a quick, what are you drinking? And then let's loop back because there's a new guy that I want to introduce. Actually, fuck it. I'm going to introduce him, and then we're going to do what are you drinking? Okay, so Toolman Tim down there in the bottom box, when he tells you what he's drinking, he's been podcasting, stream casting, live casting for, a couple years now, I think. I caught him coming across one of the channels somewhere, and I was so intrigued. He fixes everything. He's from the Great White North Canuck land, and he's always fascinating. And your use of technology and just starting from nothing and broadcasting and just going a little further and a little further and getting a little better and a little better every time you do a show inspires me. So with that, I'm just drinking coffee left over from a bit ago because I did the show just before this. So here we'll go to the 4-player mode, and whichever way we come up in the circle, let's go around. What are you drinking? And Tim, when we get to you. Okay, so Niti, Tim, Hawk, what are you drinking? Introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Niti the pharmacist. Welcome to my food church. I am here with some water. I'm just drinking some distilled water today. How are you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
What's up, X? How are you?
What up?
Nice right on. All right, guys, I'm Toolman Tim. I'm new here, friends with Nicole through the TSP and Living Free in Tennessee community. I run my own content creation thing called The Workshop, Toolman Tim's Workshop. Kind of my niche is repairedness, which is home maintenance when help isn't around the corner. You know, because us preppers, we love to have shit on hand. So I love to tell people what to buy, where to go, how to get there, and how to fix it. But all that being said, you know, I'm in the Great White People's Republic of Kanakistan. So it's tough life up here some days. But we make what we make with what we are, right? So anyway, I got a podcast I put out 3 times a week, at least twice live, have some pretty cool interviews, deal with home maintenance. You can find me over on the Prepper Broadcast Network as a part of Jack's Expert Counsel in the Survival podcast, and over on YouTube, Odyssey, Float, all the socials. And it's too early in Canada to be drinking bourbon right now, so I'm drinking some Diet Pepsi at the moment.
Very cool. My name is Xavier Hawk. I am in the Florida free zone, and we are currently experiencing some rain, but very good weather. Everything's pretty warm. I run Phireon, Phireon, and we are very close. I just had a development team meeting, and they're showing me all of the new functionality, and we've got reels, stories. We're gonna be completely cloud-based. No more Apple Store, no more Google Play Store, no sharing servers with anybody. We're going to have our own dedicated servers, all coming up in the next quarter here in 2020. What are we going into? We're in 22, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm drinking some Kratom.
Well, that's super exciting. Phireon is a perfect example of a network. Nicole kind of set together a little outline here. I'll try to keep us on the rails as best I can.
By the way, we might actually have integration with MetaMask and Trust Wallet as well, so that we'll be able to start issuing and giving out our fire tokens to people for doing. We have like a rewards-based system where people can go and do real life works in the world and get the fire token. So that's coming in the next couple months here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm freaking stoked.
In this episode, we want to talk about real life, and that is it, right? We're integrating, getting into the real life. So what are some real life networks that you guys are involved in? And then let's loop back and have the real discussion, because I wanted to kind of throw us off the rails a little bit by thinking differently about not just the things we sit in front of on the computer all effing day, like real life networks. Like I was an Eagle Scout, my Boy Scout network. I haven't been officially in that for 35 years, but there's 5 or 10 people from there. I could go land on their couch tomorrow. So like Appleseed, when Jack got into it like 10 or 13 years ago, he was like, if you want to learn how to shoot a rifle, go to effing Appleseed. They will teach you. So I did. I got all the way up through their instructor ranks to like run a shoot. You know, and I met all those guys. I have other stuff, just onward I went, right? But I still know all those guys. They know me. I was around them for a couple of years doing real life stuff, right? Another network that I'm involved in personally was my golf club. I smoked weed and drank a lot of whiskey on the golf course for decades with those MFers, right? They know me personally, the me, right? And now my Squatch Fest crew. So those are kind of my 4 real life flesh and blood, pick up the phone, yo, I'm on the way over networks. Niti, let's just go around that way. What do you got? What are your real life networks? I mean, your pharmacist network that you're building for your thing, but what are your other networks?
Yeah. I was trying to think of all that today because we have so many little things going on over here, you know. So I've got a lot of farm circles. There's a variety of those. And now it's very cool because I'm building like these online circles like globally. I don't like to count those as much. I mean, I think we're talking more about face-to-face, right? Like, because I leverage all of them. I'm leveraging my online circles. I'm leveraging my face-to-face circles. And I think that a lot of that stuff expanded more outside of my church after I started going online more, you know, and traveling more. But outside of that, I was doing more stuff locally, regionally, because I had my boots on the ground. I wasn't really on the computer, and I was doing a lot more stuff just
and
here.
You had a network around healthcare stuff, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I started more on the farm side. So it's interesting. Like I was trying to improve farm quality for our food for the meat to be better, the quality of the meat. And it was only when I started going, like when I finally got to the savory global reunion and was able to meet all the producers from around the world who were interested in soil health, did I realize I'm literally the only person who is really using meat for medicine. Meaning like regenerative, highest quality meat, not like just carnivore meat. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Meat with integrity.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, 100%. Tim, what do you got? What's some networks that you are involved in general?
Yeah, sure. I got to say first though, Hawkins there, he if he wants to keep being involved in his local networks, he better listen to his wife more than he listens to me, because that's not good. But anyway, yeah, I got. Is my audio good?
Yeah, excellent.
Oh, okay,
yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. So I got 2. I guess the first one is I live in beef country up here, right? And local, like right in the heart of beef country, and we get some. Oh, I love it. Anyway. I got a local guy that runs a local slaughterhouse, butcher shop. You know, it's a really big to do, but it's very local. Everything comes in mostly locally. Can't promise, you know, whether it's always corn fed or not, but it is what it is. It's still really way better beef than you're going to get at Walmart. And so I put in twice a year for half a beef because, you know, we eat mostly keto, and I keep a big deep freeze full of beef. Well, anyway, last summer he stopped me. I also work for him, so I mow his lawn, do his snow, that kind of stuff. And he said, yeah, you still want another side of beef? We're early this year, you know, we're only a couple of months in. I said, yeah. He says, stop by the shop tomorrow, I got a deal for you can't, you know, turn down, right? And so I go over the next day, and this also, hey Mr. Dowie. And anyway, I go over, and he's like, I got this beef. It's been in the freezer for 2 months. Nothing wrong with it at all. But he's not going to pick it up. 50 cents on the dollar, and it's yours. So like that kind of thing, local networks. I mean, I just filled my deep freeze. I'm good for a year. And that's simply from having those connections, And the other one is our the Alberta Freedom Cell group online. It's kind of a hybrid of local and online. And there's a lot of information sharing. If you want to go eat out, there's a place on there where we can talk about where you can go eat out. Or if you're looking for a job, there's that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a good hybrid as well. But they do local meetups. I have neglected to meet up with them yet, but we've had long, good conversations. So yeah, those are my two quick examples for sure.
What do you got, X?
So I'm a part of a number of different communities, right? My kids go to Waldorf school, and there's a strong community there of like-minded, value-driven parents and families, right? They don't want their kids using tech all day. They, are anthroposophists for the most part. So there's a lot of spiritual and value-driven networking that goes on there, and a lot of business opportunities, frankly, between the value-driven community. And then obviously Firon, we've got like almost, I think, 4,000 some users on the Telegram. Yeah, almost 4,000 users on the Telegram, and a little bit more than that on the app. So those are two communities, and we've gotten together in person, and we try to do it once a year. I'm trying to put something together for February 22nd here in the next couple weeks in South Florida. We did a big launch party on a huge yacht last year. We're looking at a mansion this year. In terms of, and then also the Unloose the Goose community, the TSP community. I feel like Jack has done an amazing job of bringing real people together and doing real things. And I kind of feel like I could go anywhere in the country, check out who's there in the TSP community, and have people that I know I could trust and work with. You know what I mean?
100%.
Oh,
Dowie, we're just kind of naming off
more.
a couple different communities that we're involved
here's
with
a
or
big
have
one.
been involved with, or that we could call on from our past that we might not think of it more than just the online stuff.
Here's a big one. The Tori Says community. She has got hundreds of thousands of users around the world. She does a radio show, and they've like galvanized and gotten real action going on in all of the different states. Like if there's anybody, like I'm not looking to any of the politicians to fix the situation that's going on in the United States right now, or even globally. I'm looking to the people, and the people right now, I have not seen anywhere that they are more galvanized and active than on Tori Says' community. They have meetups in every state, every region, and they're doing things like writs of mandamus. They're filing lawsuits as individuals against their school boards. Like, the whole reason that I even became a talking point on the news is because that community and what they're doing to take power back. Like that's a perfect community for the agrists.
That's badass. I like that. Can you hear me okay?
It's very inspiring. Yep.
It's good to know about a new community. You just
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Yeah. Are you do I sound all right?
You sound great.
Good.
Yep.
I screwed with my microphone before I had the Rona in early December. I haven't used it since.
Yeah, how you
I'm
feeling?
like, oh my God.
You're back.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've got still got a little cough, but I'm all right. Now I'm immune, so fuck it, right? So
yeah.
Is it my turn?
Here's my passport. yeah, totally. Just we're first going around just naming a couple of communities that people might not think of as communities, and then we can go. I got questions for you. Nicole prepared me.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I have a little, I guess I have both. Like I have a lack of community that I kind of learned when I had COVID, to be honest with you, where we had some snow and I've plowed out my neighbors, I don't know, every time it snows. And like I didn't really get any assistance. Now it wasn't a bad storm or anything, and I'm not here bitching about it, but like it made me stop and think like, I wonder how much community I really have, in my actual community. Like I live on a small lake road in New Hampshire, and they have their Facebook page and everybody pretty much knows everybody. But I feel like there's a little bit of a lack there in a way, and I didn't think it was like that until then. But it's tough, I think, for a lot of people because you get everybody's working all the time, and including myself, and it's like, so somebody needs help, it's like, how do you do that even? Because like, I'm so busy. How would I go and help another guy do some stuff? Because I'm strapped. But I know that's also, it's like that's a permaculture thing, right? That's the problem, is the solution. Everybody's so goddamn busy all the time. But like, maybe if everybody just stopped and took a minute and helped each other, then nobody would be busy all the time. Right. But so as far as communities go though, like for me, it's TSP. I'd say primarily is probably my number one community. And that, it's weird. I mean, like I listened to the Survival podcast in 2012 when the world was going to end because the Incas or something were setting a nuke off or whatever that was. So like, I started listening to that show and it grew into what it grew into. And now I have a ton of friends through that, including almost everybody here. Right. So I guess it's interesting that started the way it started. Right. And I really, what I'm getting at is like, you never know how a new community is going to start for you, right? So I started selling barrels at the beginning of COVID, and I didn't think that was going to be any community, anything, right? And but every person that shows up, I go, hey, what are you doing? What are you going to do with this barrel? Like,
what are you about? Yeah.
What are you making? Yeah.
What are you doing with the barrel? That's
yeah. What are you doing with this barrel, man? Well, I'm going to put a body in it. So no, but like, every time someone comes, I'm like, hey, what are you using it for? Or what are you in the middle of? Because everybody that comes is usually they're in a project and then it turns into a conversation. And what I've found is the majority of the people that come and buy these things are like-minded, which is interesting. And they're doing something. And I've learned a lot. Like the other day, actually yesterday, I got a referral to a doctor that's not going to force shit down my throat for my kid. Okay. From a guy that came to buy a barrel. So like that's kind of a community. Now I'm in touch with that guy. Now my failure is I suck at maintaining the contact with these people, right?
Yeah,
I meet cool people I mean like 2 cool people a week, and I just like, what am I don't know. I'm gonna like start texting them like they're my BFF or something, right? So
you know what my super secret trick is, John, when you have 5,000 people in your Rolodex? When they started making the fields bigger for the smartphones, I save everybody under a name of how I met them or what I did with them. So I'm like, oh, that duck guy. Okay, now like 1,000 people will come up, but I've narrowed the field down, right? And then I'm Woods guy. Boom, there you are.
Right. I'm Hooters John in 7 million people's phones. So, because I used to run a Hooters, so there you go. But I also so on my road last year, what I noticed was there was a lot of new gardening in the last 2 years really going on because people were freaking out. So we started building some community that way because I grow microgreens and I use soil and I only use it once. And, I give a lot of that to the neighbors. I fill their new garden beds. I just fill them. And everybody, even though they don't need to be around here, is addicted to raised garden beds because that's what they see, right? So fine, not fighting that battle. I'll just fill your garden bed up. And now you're going to have way too much fucking cilantro. But so that was another thing that's kind of working. And at the end of the year this year, I kind of said like, I need to start like a garden club on my road. But I also, I think it's a good idea. But yesterday I was thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know what we would talk about. Like tomatoes. Like, I don't know. What do you talk about?
Like the best communities, I think, are like, they kind of spontaneously form voluntarily around a task that serves each other. You guys like you're the soil guy now because it's your output from your business, right? But then they'll get garden tips from you, but they're customers and leads. Yeah.
And I started a bunch of plants last year and I gave those away to the neighbors and whatever. I did the Salatin method. But the one thing I guess I want to touch on is, I mean, I know we're talking about communities we've started, right? Or we're involved in. I mean, right here is another one that's weird. I know a lot of people in this community shit on professional sports, and that's fine. I know you don't. I know you're a Seahawks fan or something, right? But
actually, I don't know what it is.
Used to be a Blue Jays fan, but that's like the Bills fans are this like massive community, and that's another interesting thing. Like I think professional sports can bring community where it wouldn't have been. I mean, half these people I would probably never talk to because they're New Yorkers, and I am too, so I can say that. But because they're Bills fans, like we have a thing in common and we talk, and like I have Bills fans friends that I've met at games and whatever. I have local because there's so many transplants. Like I wouldn't find 30 people from upstate New York in New Hampshire if it weren't for football. right? And one of those guys is like the head of the Republican Party in some town here. And he's like, you know, him and I get into it all the time, but it's in a fun way and whatever. But there's a lot of that. And I think that can also, you know, like, don't jump fast to shit on professional sports because, you know, Kaepernick fucking wanted to take a knee or something. Like, it can lead to community, you know?
Oh,
So,
yeah. I've been
you know,
tailgating with some of the same people at Seahawks games literally before my kids were born. That's over 20 years. I've been to their marriages, their divorces.
Yeah.
Like, because it's the one thing you do, but then you just know them, right? So, like, I don't know. I always seem to get to know 5 or 6 people in any big group that are like super chill.
Yeah. And that's people that only probably have that thing, right? Like, I like the Buffalo Bills, and it's stupid. Like, I get it. It's dumb. We're cheering for laundry. But like, I understand that most of the people I talk to, like, I'm not going to talk to them about, you know, shop policies and stuff like that, because they're just going to disagree with me. But like, that stuff doesn't come up. And it's an interesting, you know, what's the word? Mosaic of people.
Okay, so you brought up the good topic when you were talking about, like, you were kind of down, but people kind of didn't show up. So I guess that's a good question, right? Is like, when do you throw the flag out for actual help? Because that's part of the community thing, right? Is if you're a parasite and are always the one like, help, 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 you know, like, but I know that's not, I need people, you weren't getting help now. It was just, you didn't throw the flag out and ask for help. But
a little bit, but
who's got a riff on that? Anybody? What do you think? Tim, go.
Yeah. So where I grew up on the East Coast in Nova Scotia, every single time somebody was sick, didn't matter. You know, somebody's got cancer, some kids in the IWK, Make-A-Wish hospital, that kind of stuff. It was always an excuse for a potluck, a raffle, a chase the ace. It didn't matter, right? And as soon as people knew, people did what they could. And that was cool. I do miss that a little bit. Life's a little different on the prairies, you know, but it growing up around there, that was the big thing. And you didn't have to belong to a church. You didn't have to belong. It was just so-and-so's in a hard way, give what you can, you know, and everybody'd get together and every business would donate and whatever. And it worked, you know, it does. And, you know, for every time that it worked, you'd always see the one or two that would take advantage of it. And you'd roll your eyes and you'd bitch a little bit and you're like, you know what, but the good they do outweighs the bad. Right. And so that was good. And, you know, and a bit with community too, I guess you get what you put into it sometimes, but you don't always, like John said, you know, you can help everybody out under the sun. I remember, do you remember the movie Hotel Rwanda? You know, the gentleman in there, and he spent all his time making all his connections with all these guys, expecting that when he needed help, they'd give it to him, and almost nobody did, right?
Boom. That is super fucking important, because I have found that that's what I run around doing, trying to help everybody, and then turn around when it's needed. It's amazing who stands with you when you're really in need, right? And it's never who you think it's going to be. It's really right. It's crazy to me. Like, absolutely. Yeah, I was in a hard way, and the people that I thought would be there weren't, and the people that, you know, during the whole Rona thing and like everybody was scared. Like, I learned who was really down to ride and who wasn't. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing how many people were sifted and sorted in or out just due to 2020, because my circle got tight. It was so tight. And I think that was one of the biggest blessings from 2020, is that anybody who was walking the line had to pick a side, or has to pick a side. And you can't, because I couldn't stand that, Xavier. Like, all the people that walk the line, those people drive me nuts. Like, I'm just like, you stand for something, because otherwise you stand for nothing. And I'm like, so I don't have patience for that. Like, I'm sorry, you know, like, you guys were talking in the chat over here in the comments, everybody's saying, you know, I don't like to just call and chit chat with people. And I don't either. Like, you know what? What I've realized is that I want to hang out with people, but when I'm hanging out, like, I'm so high on talking about how we can build and help each other create that so that we don't have to do this. Like, we don't want to do this. And so we have to have that. And so I just love building that and just talking about that and then connecting with people and being like, oh, you can help me do that too. So, you know, like I find
Let's
that
be productive.
Right. I think that somebody said to me once, Niti, you know, you don't have to be on all the time. And I'm like, that's the moment where I don't probably, John Dowie, get along with some of the sports people, because I'm like, I don't have time to just sit here and like BS with you, because I'm interested in creating this world over here. And it's so much fun. It's so much fun. It's not, you know, like it might not have even resulted in whatever yet, but it's so, and when 2020 hit and everybody was like, I can't believe you've just been sitting here doing this for the past 12 years. Thank God we have a solution with you, because we would have never thought of this or whatever. So, you know, I don't know. And so I will say,
not a lot of people helped Noah build the ark, right?
Exactly. So, you know, it's really lonely on the bleeding edge over here, but at the same time, look at all these amazing people. And then there's so many of us, I think, that have been working together, but not knowing it. And now we kind of are meeting each other or whatever. So I mean, you know, you when we started this conversation, Brian, and you were like, who are your networks? I got so many. So I can't even think of who to name. Right. I just came back from Tennessee and I had so much fun. And I was over there with 3 networks, because one network is the Tactical Response Network. If you guys know, you know, like James Yeager and the guys at TAC, and you got John Willis from SOE, and, you know, Nicole came and just, I told Nicole, I go, I was trying to like do these work projects while I was there, but I didn't get any of it done. It was like God was saying, you need to just relax, because I went there with my whole family. And so I hosted dinner for all of these thought leaders in our cabin that we were renting. And I'm just grilling. And, you know, it was kind of weird and the best time ever, because everything that we probably only hung out, we could only get everybody together for 2 hours because we're busy. Like, I was the only one who was there who was kind of not so busy because I was the visitor or whatever. But, you know, everybody else is like, dude, I'm like doing my thing. So it's like, I gotta get back.
Well, check out Rob's comment down here. He's talking about he was networking with the plate. He had to go find a sauna for doctor's prescription thing. So we had to go find a sauna place and take a sauna, right? But he was there. So he started networking with the guy.
Yeah.
Guy was networking with barrel guys. It's a mindset of first understanding the value of having a giant Rolodex of a guy that's in every industry. So if you start hearing stuff from it and something's going on, you could call somebody and check somebody that actually does it.
Right.
Is it really going on?
Connecting. It's the connections. You know, it's like, if you're a connector, like there's nothing more fun than being in the middle of a conversation with somebody that you've never met, and then you find out they need something and you go, oh, you should come. I got a guy for that. I got a guy.
Yep.
Man, that works that way in the handyman business. Oh, sorry, X.
Yep. No. You go ahead. I was just going to,
Yeah, like I got a guy for just about everything, because I can do just about anything up to a point, right? But I got to know, I got to have, you know, I need an electrician. I got an 85-year-old electrician that I can call at 3:00 in the morning, and he'll be there in 5 minutes. You know, I got a plumber that I can call, plumber heating guy that I can call, and he'll talk me through a gas fitting over the phone. You know, don't tell people that, but you know, that kind of shit, right? You got to have a guy.
Right.
So
that's what specialized, right? They get the outer part. Go Hawk, go.
Yeah, no, I've done this with Firon. Like, when we first hit the market, I had like thousands of people contacting me, and I make myself available. Like, I want to, and I even had a Calendly, and I had people book time slots to speak with me. Tell me who you are, what you do business wise. Like, maybe I can help you. And I like, you know, I try to contact some of these influencers and stuff, and like, they never respond, you know, and like,
it's true.
I'm amazed at how haughty people tend to become when they think that they're important. And I'm out here like trying to get to know everybody and build like contact me. I might not get to you this month. I might get to you like in a couple weeks, but I will. And like, let's figure out what we can do together, if anything, right? Because you never know where things are going to come from. And like a conversation I have now could spark a memory that I had on one of those calls and be like, oh yeah, you know what? So-and-so knows that, or has that, or does that, or supplies that. And then, just building bridges like that is super important.
Well, yeah. And make yourself available means a lot of things too. Like, make yourself available means make eye contact with people when you're in public and say hi, and you don't know where that's going to go. It's
Right,
when someone
right.
reaches out to you, like I have people in the microgreens world that reach out to me from all over the country and up in Canada where Tim lives. And I don't even know how you live there. It's already too cold here. I don't know how you do it.
I never met a New Yorker that makes eye contact in my life, so I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
We're looking for your wallet.
I'm from the upstate New York. Actually, no, where I'm from, you know what? I bitch about this all the time. When I go home, I'm in a supermarket with my wife and someone walks by and I smile and go, hey, how are you? And they sneer at me. And while they're still in earshot, I go, the next motherfucker that does that gets punched in the throat. But whatever. That's how we do it here.
Too. Don't worry about it.
What do you want? What do you want? That's what they're saying.
I just like, I'm that guy. Like, I will talk to everybody in public. And obviously that gets me a long way. But I know there's a lot of people that aren't that person, but like maybe try to, start introducing that into your life. Like, you don't know who you're going to end up talking to. You know who you're going to meet. I was in this grow room. That's where I am, in my grow room in the office. And I've been here for 7 years. The first 4 to 5, there was a mechanic right up the way here that I could have been using and talking to and wasn't, because he had a shitty name for his business. And I didn't think Grumpy's Garage was the place where I wanted to take my car. Right. But turns out,
but Grumpy turned out to be one of the coolest guys on the planet.
Turns out he's a great mechanic. He cuts me deals. Now we're friends. I can go up there and use his lift if I need to do work on my car if I want to do it. And he fucking knows. He knows everybody. So it's like, don't shut anything down because you don't know what that person's going to know, and you don't know who you're going to meet and who you're going to talk to. I mean, I guess you could meet a serial killer and that could be bad, but otherwise it's usually okay, Yeah.
So being super helpful to people, right? And opening your network, people will be more likely to open their networks to you. And if you're not used to talking to random strangers, I think you just got to get over it. There's nothing, there is no harm. You could even make a game of it.
We are all one. We are all one. And we're all trying to just, everybody wants to just be loved and, wants to be seen. And, but people they're shocked when you walk up to them. You're like, hey, what's up? How are you?
So if you happen to still go to bars and such thing like that, so back in my sales days, right, I had to work with different sales crews, every day, different city. So we would go to the bar and before we would walk in, I would assign them roles. Like, you're an NBA prospect star. We're trying to recruit you under the table, NCAA, total violation. And we would see if we could get people to narc us, make shit up, right? And then people in the who are you? You got a great backstory, but you get to ask them real questions. They'll tell you who they really are because they're not playing. They don't know they're part of the simulation. Oh, best game ever.
When I moved here 12 years ago, that was the first thing I did was look for the local dive bar and just start going there. And it was great. I mean, that's probably...
You should have met Grumpy.
Yeah, no. But you know what, though? One day my well pump went and I yanked that shit out of the ground and tried to figure out what was wrong with it and couldn't do it. And this guy that's this, veteran union plumber that I knew from the bar came over and started at the panel and went right through and we found the problem. And I don't know, without that guy, I still might not have water. It was 8 years ago. So who knows? But, save me thousands. And you meet these people and you never know where it ends up. I ended up working at that bar part-time. I was bartending there for a while. And you got to get out there. I feel like I run into a lot of people that they tell me, especially in this community, I just stay at home on my farm and whatever. And it's just you don't know what you're missing out on, man. You got to get out there. You got to talk to people. And I don't know how true it is. I'm sure we all want that, right? We all are we live in this world where we're I don't want to leave my property. I just want to stay here and work on my shit and never talk to anybody again. But I don't really know if it's true. And I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, like we're gonna do the
About balance.
Self-Reliance Fest in Tennessee. Everybody should come out there. It'll be so much fun. And that's happening in February. I think that I don't know. You have to make yourself uncomfortable a little bit if you want to really be able to find and meet really cool people. Like you can be uncomfortable for a day. I mean, come on. Can't you be uncomfortable for a little while? Like I try to push my kids into uncomfortable situations because I want them conditioned to be able to just be okay in an uncomfortable situation. And also if they need to pivot or whatever it is, you gotta stay on the, I don't know. I think
very true. And it's about balance, right? Like you want to be able to retreat to your farm and be in your own space, safety, comfort, all of that. But then we thrive on interaction and validation and serving, being of service, helping people. It makes us feel good. Love in action. So I know I need that balance. If I'm too much on the land by myself, I go nuts. If I'm too much in community,
you just triggered me with the safety word.
That's the way it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you just triggered me with the safety word.
Uh-oh.
Don't say safety anymore, people. Okay, I was gonna just do a whole thing. I was gonna do a whole rant about safety. I'm like, I don't need to be safe. Okay, I want to have fun. All right, I want to live and I want to be on the edge and I want people to be brave. I don't want you to be. Yes, I'm not gonna say safety. How about comfortable? It's okay to be comfortable for a little while, chill, take a rest for a minute. But unless you are willing to be risky, if you're not willing to risk, or take some risk to just go, you can't, how can you have fun? I don't understand it. I'm not understanding all of this safety. I hate the safety. And also I don't need you to protect me. Also, I'm offended and insulted and I'm over it. And all the men, it's just me and all you guys, right? Aren't you dudes offended by all?
Are you assuming my gender?
I was about to say, I'm like, Jesus.
Someone had to say it.
Oh my God. There's only two genders. It's a universal law. Okay. It's a universal law, everybody. So whatever. But yeah, I think every man should be completely and totally insulted and offended when somebody's trying to keep you safe. I'm offended and I'm a female and I love for men to, chivalry to me is just very attractive, but at the same time, I'm also I don't need you to, I don't need the government to keep me safe. How's that? I don't need,
there you go.
I don't need institutions to keep me safe, but I love for a gentleman to be chivalrous and look out for me. So
I'm a Mandalorian. Weapons are part of my religion.
Word up. See?
Micro preaches safety third. I love it. That is
yeah.
There's that quote that's been floating around from C.S. Lewis. If you guys have seen that one recently, where one of his students back in the day in the atomic age, they're like, how can you live? How can you do anything at this point in your life? Because we can literally be wiped out in an instant with a nuclear bomb. And he's like, listen, don't you think that people back in the medieval times lived in fear of being wiped out by a Viking invasion just like that? He says that's been part of life for our entire existence. And, I'm sure I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, get the fuck up, get the fuck out and go do something.
That's right.
That's
right, Tim. That's right. Because there was dinosaurs and then there was, Vikings. Whatever. There's always some crazy person doing something. But you know what? There's more of us and less of them. There's more love and less of whatever crazy. And there's no microscopic thing that I'm going to be afraid of. Okay. I'm sorry. Also, did y'all notice that human beings are like cockroaches? You can't really, I don't think people understand exactly how resilient we are. Good grief.
Oh, I thought you meant they were just chasing money.
For 100 years,
yes, some of them.
Okay, John Dowie, who's always every time I say something holistic, he'll be pulling his Dr. Pepper out of his pocket or whatever. I'm just
there you go. You'll love that.
Okay, right? See? You got 100 years of that, And meantime, somebody wants to believe that some little microscopic something's going to get you. No.
This is the only ginger ale with actually has ginger listed in the ingredients.
Yeah, you know
Does
what?
not
It's
contain real
time
ginger.
that it's time that everybody can speak honestly about actual risks. Like, what is the risk? Like, really? But it's been 15,000 hours of government institutional conditioning that A is not A. People can't do any logic or math or any understanding. That's why they're terrified of things to not be terrified about at all. So
Education. Okay, so you know what?
Keep us on the rails.
People think that guns are to be feared, and I've had someone recently like give me this big lecture about how could I allow my son to go take this tactical training. You know what I said? I said, unless you are educated, I am not having this conversation with you. If you want to be educated about guns and then have a conversation with me, I will have that with you. And unless and until you have been educated about, like, go take the trifecta tactical response, and then let's have a conversation.
Send them through Appleseed for like a mom that doesn't like guns. They can go to Walmart, spend $99 on a 22, show up with it in the box, and go from in the box to safely discharging 500 rounds over the course of a weekend, and they will have a whole new understanding of that. It's not going to like shoot itself. It's not going to jump up and kill it. Like but the beauty of that
it's freaking a nail gun. What's the difference?
Well, in the 2-day class, though, you can't shoot all day. So they interlace the whole story of April 19th, the first day of the revolution, into the entire class. So at the end of it, they know how firearm operates and works, but at the same time, they know how and why we fought the revolution and what guns are actually used for.
Right.
I mean, they're either 2A or not after that.
After the training they went to, I asked my son what the most important thing was that he learned in the 6 days. And he said, I learned I don't ever want to pull my gun out.
Yeah.
That's what he learned.
Once you're around them, right? Then you get that people aren't like super glorious.
He also doesn't want to go anywhere that doesn't have his gun on his. He doesn't want to not have his gun either. He doesn't want to have to ever pull it out, but he also wants to have his gun.
Better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in the war.
And by him taking that class, that's a whole network.
Exactly. Now he's got an entire alumni
Those
group.
dudes I met were called, and he was with them live in real life doing a thing that wasn't a networking thing.
Right.
Those are the best networks.
Right. Learning.
You know,
physically, like hands-on doing something.
You talked about the revolution. I mean, you guys have this whole collective experience down there that we're just still waiting for up here.
Where we kick the king in the nuts. You guys just got to man up. It's your turn now.
We just sat around and waited till the queen got tired of us and shipped us off. She's like, you know what? We can't afford you assholes anymore. You can be your own country. But, you know, so I got to say, like, she's still on your money. Oh, well, yeah, well, I suppose that is true now, isn't it? But she doesn't technically rule us anyway. But, you know, when it comes down to it,
lackeys do.
Yeah, that somebody else. Yeah, Prince anyway, but like I always look at, you know, as a Canadian, you know, this is kind of fun being the outside guy, right? Because I look at, I'm jealous first off. Okay, first off, when somebody comes to me and says, I got 100 business ideas, I want to start them, I'm just like, well, okay, pick one and do it, right? That's simple. I always say, quit making fucking excuses and do it. But then I look at everybody in the States and I'm like, you guys have got some of the most kick-ass networks down there. And then I start, you know, whining and crying and saying, I got nothing up here, right? So I got to friggin' build it, right? I mean, we do have some, but I just got to throw it out there while I'm on and talking. But Canadians out there, especially Western Canadians, get in contact with me, and we need to start putting something like this together. And yeah, because we absolutely, like, I'm not going to make any more excuses about it. And my wife and I have talked about it, and we want to do something like that in our area to bring people together, right? Because I'm always jealous, and I'm like, you know what? I got to stop fucking making excuses and be like, all right, we're going to do it. And everything's different. It comes together for different people, but we need to have those, you know, off the network connections. Yeah. No doubt about it, Hoser. We'll have some beer.
Yeah, seriously. That was how I met my whole tailgate crew. People in Seattle didn't actually tailgate My one buddy worked at the brewery, actually, which is God, what is it? It's a giant brewery across the street now. I knew the guy that owned the C store, so I asked him if he mind if we drank some beer in his parking lot. So we literally rolled a keg across the street and started yelling at people to come drink beer with us. That's how basically tailgating started 25 years ago in Seattle, because the West Coasters just didn't sit in fields and drink beer.
What?
But no, seriously, Dowie, the strangest thing you've ever seen. Dude, when you're from the East Coast and used to 100,000 people in a parking lot grilling, roasting, and drinking, and you come out here and there's like nobody. Holy shit. So yeah, the squirrel, my buddy from Nebraska, and I started it.
That's crazy. I don't even get it.
Yeah.
It just, well, it rains and it's cold, and they just, I mean, see, football's not old here. It was new in 70, right? So they just hadn't had that tradition yet, and there wasn't like the stadium's in a wacky spot. They just So anyway, yeah, when that brewery went in, he was brewer number 9. He invented their stout. Yeah, shit, free beer and a free parking lot. And then the guy the guy figured out, holy shit, people will pay to park near you guys. And then the Seattle parking war escalation started. Oh,
there you
that
go.
tailgate. It got up to being a mile and a half long at one point. And then the viaduct project killed it all. They took all our spots.
Meanwhile, in Buffalo, we light ourselves on fire and jump through tables.
Yeah.
You guys have to, though. I mean, it's tough. You guys have just had an awful go at it for like ever. You know, I feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I don't know. Last Sunday, it was just like one of those someone had to lose. You know, it was weird. But anyway, I just as an aside to ADHD the shit out of this conversation, I just looked up the Waldorf school because I didn't know what that was, and I have a 7-month-old and I'm interested in stuff like this. And I just want you to know that the second result that came up on Google was that it's racist.
Oh,
So,
Wait, what?
Ridiculous.
not result,
No, okay,
but like,
so check this out.
hang on.
Let me give you a little bit of background on Waldorf.
Yeah,
because
lay it out.
because
So,
of the
It comes
anthroposophy.
from
You say that word.
anthroposophy, right? So
There you go.
in the 1930s, actually 1900s, a guy named Rudolf Steiner studied Gurdjieff. He studied Goethe, and was talking about spirituality and Western spirituality instead of like all of this Eastern stuff. He was talking about where the soul resides. He was hired by the Waldorf Astoria family to come up for a curriculum for their children that took in the whole being, right? Not just rote memory, progress and all that. It's like during this age to this age, a child's developing this progress. During this age to this age, they're coming into their body. During this age to this age, they're exerting their will. So it took in the whole totality of a child, of a personality, of a personage. And the idea is that we grow into our bodies. We don't grow up into spirituality. We become less spiritual over time as we become more embodied in our physicality. This was such a threat to the fascist and socialist regimes of the Nazi era that they tried to kill him. They burned down his buildings and his schools, and literally talked about, all he was talking about was personal freedom. Literally, this is how you develop as a being into personal freedom. That's the whole, the anthroposophy is the philosophy of freedom, is the translation. And so this is a complete threat to true fascism. It's a complete liberation pathway for freedom and for the people of and the children of the earth, right? So the fact that it's on Google as racist is an indicator that it's actually something that liberates people and is not leading. This is the most diverse school in South Florida. Frankly, we have people from every country around the world.
Yes.
There are kids who speak English as their second language, every color, creed, race, and nationality, frankly. And and to see that it's being called racist is because there is an agenda purposely being set out by people that are enemies of humanity that want to see it not succeed. Because Steiner said 100 years ago in 1900, he said that 100 years from now, we're going to have a chance, a slim chance, but a chance to set Earth on the right path for spiritual development. And they will create a vaccine that will cut off your connection from God. He literally said that and made other predictions that have all kind of come true. And so the fact that the Nazis wanted to take him out, poisoned him, and eventually were successful in killing him, burned down the Goethe on him, and that Google is saying it's racist, that should be a fucking indicator that it's one of the pathways available to us for liberation. And if you have children, definitely look into Waldorf school. Soapbox done. Thank you.
Yes. Any pathway that leads to I am is dangerous.
Is God,
Is the
is
war.
of God, and it is correct.
He almost sounds a bit humanist too, though, eh? Like, and almost, I can imagine that some organized religions weren't real keen on the idea either.
Correct. It's truly liberative. He goes through a Judeo-Christian perspective and talks about Christ and what Christ did and how he overcame the world, and he demonstrated how to do that. I mean, he was literally like, this is and he created biodynamic farming. You know, he created a threefold social order that works, where the businesses support the schools, like just really brilliant stuff, way ahead of his time. And the Theosophists they all asked him to be their leader, and he was like, no, he was like, I have too much integrity to do this and lead people astray. We have to let people find their own way. We can't have gurus and all of this. It's really about people finding their own way and their own freedom. So it became a threat to the establishment.
Because you're being inspired by your own infinite intelligence and connecting with that. And that is actually what we want to instill in our children. And I didn't find it. I don't have a really good Waldorf school near us. So that's why we were unschooling for exactly that. That's why people don't have their own instincts anymore, because they're not allowed to just quiet their mind and listen to their infinite intelligence. That is guiding them always.
Yeah. Yep. And there's a problem that's happened in the Waldorf schools, and somebody actually just brought it up in the chat. So during the COVID pandemic, people, like, the Waldorf schools were like a spiritual battleground for people who were either two-legged Muppet cows and cowards and not living into the spirit of freedom, and then those who were like, wait a minute, this is bullshit. Like, the science shows that the virus is too small to be stopped by a cloth mask. The science shows that it's a genetically engineered bioweapon. Like, the real science showed all these things. And in the Waldorf school, like in our school, we made masks, what is it? Not mandatory, but optional, right? Because, like,
your
this
body,
is
your
a
choice.
way that we as it's spiritual warfare, and it's like, if we don't stand up in the ways that we can stand up at the moment and place where we are, then we're losing ground, and we are.
You mean what you said?
It is a spiritual war. That is what is happening. That is the reason why it's dividing mothers and daughters and fathers and sons and brothers and sisters. Absolutely ridiculous. Yep. And so you have to choose.
Family members and friends.
Yeah, we just decided
sorry, Niti, not from my choice. I love them. I want them.
Right.
I want them in my life. But they made a choice that, and
you're not allowed.
Loving people. Bullshit.
No, I mean, I will say that I am watching, my extended family be told by some of their in-laws or whomever that if they don't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, they can't participate in their family. And our family has been, I have to say that I'm appreciative. They don't agree with me maybe about anything at all, but they are honoring, like, our body, our choice. They might like, try to dig in on us or say things or whatever, but they respect that, we're not making the same choices they are. So there's that.
I had family members force the other family members to get vaccines, or they wouldn't let them see their kids.
Yes. I was watching that happen.
Their grandkids, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane. Yeah.
But Waldorf school is one of those places where people are at least semi-conscious about what the hell is going on, and kind of collectivizing. Like I was talking about, Tori says earlier, that group of people are collectivizing and exerting their freedom. They're exercising their freedom and doing so on paper, legally, within the bounds of the law. And the only reason that the news talks about it is because they're actually doing something. There is an anti-human force that is taking place on this planet right now. And until we recognize that, like, we as agorists are like, we actually get it, because we take accountability for ourselves, and we look around and we say, yo, something's not right with all this. And just because a herd of humans all say it's this way and they're wrong, doesn't make the position that's right, though it's, not as vocal or might be a minority, doesn't make that wrong. We have to stand in our correctness, stand in our righteousness, stand in our truth, and make the boundaries and say, no, like, I'm not going to go chasing a fight, but I'm going to defend it right there and then in the ways that I can. I'm not going to wear your mask. I'm not going to give ground,
or you're just not going to allow it any power to begin with, because it's absurdity and it's not a law. It's been amazing. Like, I was just posting the definition, the legal definition of mandate over and over and over and over. I mean, they are requesting your voluntary participation in this bullshit. They are requesting your voluntary participation in this bullshit. There is no emergency. There is no emergency. The only emergency is that somebody is trying to come between you and your family. Somebody is trying to come between you and everybody. This is the emergency. That is the only emergency.
So
to bring it back to subject topic, this is a network. This is the network, right? We are the network of free thinking, free loving human beings who are accountability, and we have to create stronger bonds in that network so that we can look at the two-legged Muppet cows and be like, you need to be over here, and if you want to be over here, like, we got to decide whether we want to let you. Are you willing to be accountable?
That's why we want you in person. That's why we want you to come in person to different events that we're all having. That's why, because we want you to also feel the energy and the love of us in person, not just here.
Yes. Love it.
I did manage to ADHD the shit out of it, didn't I?
No, it's what's a network like? What is a network for? It's to identify people who get it, and at this point, it's kind of if you have to be able to. People can be around people that speak truth and can have differences and are adults and understand like objective reality, and you can have a conversation. And there's people that are just so controlled and but I don't know. We have to like help them find a way out too. There's, that's why my event is not so like teaching heavy, right? More like music and relax in the woods and breathe for a minute and hit the reset button. Because there's people around that'll help you, but while you're panicking and drowning, that was kind of my thought for the week, though, right? People are starting to come out of this. This is a great topic for like networks. So get involved with humans in your area that like anything you like. You will voluntarily organize around people that you like, and just start to tell people kind of what you're up to, and just get to know more people. Tim, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I just play devil's advocate here, or maybe not. Yeah. But no, I love doing that when I'm in a big group. But it, as far as like, okay, when we have networks, right? And because our agorist voluntarist network is by its nature going to be smaller. And if you look at different oppressed networks in the past, there was always a need for gray men or gray women or gray people. I'm not sure. So people that could walk around the
gray
fringes.
beings.
Gray beings, yes. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so there needs to be, because I spent a lot of time fighting with people on the choice of being free, and I got and of course you guys got to understand, coming from a slightly more oppressive regime north of the border. However, you look at people during the Soviet, during communism and that sort of thing. There's a time and a place for us to sit around and discuss, and there's also a time and a place, at least in my mind, to just keep my goddamn mouth shut and move on. Because there's times when attracting the wrong attention does not serve the final goal at all. And standing on a soapbox hollering at everybody is only going to bring the wrong people down on you. So, and I'm not saying there isn't a time and a place for it, but even in, Christianity, there was a place for that. You know what I mean? Maybe a little bit less than some of the others, but, and also,
no.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I thought you were saying like they've been less damaging than the others. I mean, we fought more wars and killed more people.
No, sorry. I come from a Christian background. Like I was born, not anymore, but me so too. Like, and I was 4 years in university studying religion and that kind of shit, So, but it comes down to, there always needed to be somebody that could walk the line, because number one, talking about supply chains and networks, there's going to be shit we can't get, you know what I mean? Or there's going to be places we can't go or some people can't go. Right. And so there needs to be those gray people that can work both sides of the coin and make sure you know what you believe. But there really needs to be somebody that can, hey, and maybe it's all the post-apocalyptic fiction I read, but there always seems to be
how's
that
that going to happen now?
Okay. Parallel systems. That's what I got while you guys were talking. You're starting to, they've always been there. You're starting to see them. It's a pendulum. They're in need now, so they'll grow now, right? They've always been around, but like once, like you said, that group X is getting big enough that now they can be like, F it, we're going to do this together because now we are an army. We're about to show you how big we are. There's all kinds of parallel systems that exist that are going to have to be leaned on as you get away from once people realize the giant techno-fascist companies are in it with the government and have just been lying the shit out of them their whole lives. Once they wake up, they've got to figure out something else, right? They have to know there's parallel systems out.
Rob's got it there, but I guess, you know what Jack always says, the number one rule of survival is to survive, to not die, right? And what kind of goddamn good can we do if we're in jail, right? I guess that's what I'm coming around at. Like, I'm a pragmatist and I want to make sure that I can feed my family and help support my benefiting networks. And I'm not saying compromise on your values at all. I'm saying make your own personal choices and do things the way you see, but there's always going to be a need for people who can walk the line on both sides, because I realize this, that like having maybe not aggressive, but having forthright conversations with some people, all it does is piss them off and attract you the wrong attention. And I did nothing. All I did was put my blood pressure up 20 points and maybe felt good for a minute, right? But if you take your time and develop some relationships, sometimes people can come around and see the sense that you mean. That's all. I'm not trying to, but I just to bring it down sometimes, because sometimes we just in our field, it's just, how about in the pro-choice field of free choice, sometimes we beat people with the stick of free choice and say, my free choice is better than your free choice. And I don't want to do that. Maybe. I think I'm going on a tangent there and I apologize, but
love it.
Well, no, I mean, I think what you're saying, that's what my question was for you, Tim, was, I was kind of getting confused saying, okay, that gray man thing that you're saying, walking the line, how do you do that when, they're doing this crazy, like, show your papers crap? Like, that's the thing, is that's why I said, and as of now, there is no walking the line. You could do that, but now they're in show your paper world. I'm like, kiss my grits. I'm not signing. I have no papers. I'm not going to do papers.
You know what? Times are bad right now. They are, but they've been worse before too. And people have been able to walk the line before too. And I'm not saying it's easy. Fuck no, I'm not saying that at all. Whether it means fake paper. Maybe I shouldn't go down this road here.
Well, you're Mr. Canada. Tell us what is the way to finesse the fake paper world?
Oh, I don't know if there is one. I'm just, I'm not saying, but what I am saying is that people in the past have faced far dire consequences than we have now, even though this shit sucks and it's really friggin' bad. And we all, so I'm just saying that it is a possibility. There is the chance that, because if you don't, like I said, what is the end result of, standing on a soapbox, ending up in jail, or getting shot, right? What did they say?
Or just walking away? How about don't participate? So
that's exactly it.
Right. Because like Rob Kaiser's here in the chat saying being a gray man doesn't necessarily make you a bitch. It's a tactful approach. Yeah. Okay. I get that, Rob. I'm saying I agree with what he's saying. I agree with what you're saying, Tim. I'm saying that when I'm saying that folks have to pick a side, then it is not the time to try to convince anybody or persuade anybody who, there's no reason to. I quit explaining and defending a long time ago. I quit explaining and defending because you either understand what I'm saying or you don't understand what I'm saying. But in this red hot moment, I definitely cannot care, which is, I have actually a t-shirt, Tim, that says, I don't care. And on the back of it, it says, there is great love here for you, because I can't care more than you care. about whatever it is. And I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to try to convince you. People say to me all the time over here, Tim, Niti, we need you to justify regenerative meat. In the food church, they want me to justify it. I'm like, I'm sorry. I cannot create your worth. That is between you and you.
Mm-hmm.
And all you need to know is that I know that you were born worthy. And outside of that is none of my business, between you and you. I'm not going to justify to you anything. This is what has happened with this consumer, litigious, fake society that has been established. And so we now can just lead them towards truth and reality, which is not based on competition. There is no competition. There's only competition if you believe that there's.
It has to be cooperative. Yep.
Exactly. 100%. It is 100% cooperative. We all need each other, and we're all in this together, not in the fake way that they're talking about, but in the real ways that we're trying to express over here. So you don't need to walk a line if you're being real.
And I visualize networks too as tribes of people. Like I'm part of a fish community, part of a Grateful Dead community, part of a college alumni community, right? And we're all spread out across the whole country and world. And I know those people like the particular thing that revolved around, right? So that's always a starting point. But tribes of people that organize around a thing don't think giving their time to the thing or the organization is even a cost, right? Because I'm part of the tribe that keeps the music spinning, because I gladly pay money and fly to go see shows because I want them to play. All right. So I don't perceive that as even a cost, because that's what makes a strong network of people that want to self-organize around a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm
so
too busy.
We used our networks.
Oh, sorry.
Tim, riff. What do you got?
Whatever. Yeah, I just like I said, like we talked about people. Like people are so goddamn interesting, you know. And I'm too busy building businesses and getting to know people and living with my family. And I mean, I can lose sleep over a whole bunch of that other stuff. But focus on what you can control and focus on what you can build. And I think Xavier. No, maybe not. Sorry. Yeah. But yeah, just. I don't know. Yeah. Well, do the things you can and don't stress over the stuff you can't, because there's a lot of shit you can't fix.
It's not our work to fix it.
That's right. 100%.
Not our work.
Do your thing.
Right.
But just be conscious of networks.
That goes back to that safety trigger word, Tim, when like how X was like talking about safety, the whole like we got to fix or we got to save. It's not my work to do that. I'm not supposed to fix I didn't come here to fix anything. I didn't come here to save you from anything. I came here to be a creator, to create something and to have fun, to have fun, to love and to have fun and to just expand. This is an expansion universe.
Yes. Yeah, and you have to know the other networks exist so you can choose to participate or not, right?
Right.
I think we lost X. I think he was messing with his phone. It looked like maybe he was having a power issue. So
hopefully he'll pop back in. He's got the worst internet. That's what we've established.
He's doing
He's so free. He's so free that he just kind of flies off sometimes.
Yeah, and his Firon stuff's really starting to take off. That whole thing about get if you're not in there already, go in, because I think they haven't airdropped the chips to people yet. But I think they're gonna, like, if you have an account, it's like Facebook or whatever, right? But Firon, PHIREON.
REON.
If you're there the day they do that airdrop, because he was talking about being able to give them away to start a market. So just get an account. It doesn't hurt. It's not going to cost you anything. They've really been working on it. It's getting more functional day by day. It pings me a little too much for my liking, but whatever.
I just turned off the little alerts, and that way.
Yeah. So that is a good community. Hey, why don't we pitch our stuff in Bug Out, or does anybody want to riff on it? You got anything big or Dowie?
I think I said everything right in the beginning.
Yeah, you nailed it. Dowie Farms. Okay. How can people hook up with you locally? Are you still selling barrels?
Yeah. Yeah, we got barrels. We've got burn barrels. We're in southern New Hampshire. Good times.
Microgreens. So if you got a
Microgreens are-
restaurant that's
Yep.
starting up.
Yep, full swing in greens. We're busy getting ready to start. Well, this is the week where I plant for Valentine's Day, and then after that we go nuts marketing, because you can't really market during the holidays because no chef wants to see you during Thanksgiving.
TTF.
Yeah, I have that going on. We're available locally for home delivery at dowiefarm.com, and I know that, like, you know, it's like David Bowie but with a D, but you don't say it that way. That's how you spell it. Anyway, our barrels are there. We have quail eggs available. We have microgreens. We have New Hampshire maple syrup. And if my syrup supplier hadn't run low because last year was a shitty season, I would be shipping syrup, but we're not. Honey, local made mustards, all kinds of stuff. It's not all ours, but we resell it. And
I love gourmet mustard.
oh, this stuff, some of it's so good, dude. I'll have to hook you up. But yeah, that's our thing. Our my podcast that we, you know, whatever we do on my YouTube channel, which is Dowie Farm on YouTube, is kind of on hiatus because it was tough to do with a cough for the last however long. So we'll be getting back at that. Yeah, the COVID. Maybe I have long COVID.
Long COVID. Yeah. Oh, for sure. For government forms, I'm going to have long COVID for a while.
I need to have, at least I'll have one thing.
It works that way up here
Just like I'm Native American.
Yeah.
Whatever you need on paper to get those stolen tax dollars back.
Yeah.
All right, Tim, tell us how. Do you want more business up your way? You look like you work 24 hours a day or 27 hours a day.
I really don't. I mean, I do, but I don't. Like, I love to put on that I do, but I mean, like, my handyman business is, I've got it to the point now where, geez, I mean, some weeks I can work a lot, but then other weeks, you know, I might work 20 hours a week, right? But I've got the business down that I know what makes me the money and what I can do, and then I can throw the rest into, well, my wife's business and the content creation right now. I'm pushing real hard, and we can't stop. Like, we're always trying to find the next thing. I just talked to a coffee reseller today because it's like literally impossible, not impossible. Well, Brian knows, but to get any coffee up here. So I talked to a private label company out of Ottawa that we may do some, I don't know. We're going to try it. We'll see.
Man brew needs to happen.
Yeah. I'll talk to you about it down the road because, and it's,
you got to find a local guy. You can't cross the border.
That's it. And these guys roast out of Ottawa. And anyway, I'll go into it another day, but that's, So, working on a book, my first preparedness manual, hopefully by January next year.
I love it. Have you got that trademarked or whatever?
I don't, but I'm really seriously thinking I almost should. Hey, like,
no, fuck, you should. Well, data first use. It's on this broadcast.
I've been using it for a while now, but I love it. I don't know. It came up and
your new broadcast.
Yes, exactly. Right. And James over at PBN, he loved it. And he's like, can you do a show every Thursday? So that my podcast, the workshop podcast, is what I do. Thursdays and Sunday nights live, 7 Mountain Time. That's the easiest way to find me. And over on YouTube, Odyssey, a couple of review videos a week. And you can find me on Fireside Freedom Podcast. They're everywhere right now. So
Toolman Tim.
Yeah.
Just
and toolmantim.co. That's the website. Yeah.
Nice. Cool. Niti, what do you got?
Well, I'm over here in the food church. Did you just get a lot of feedback?
There you
go. Okay, sorry.
Good.
I was just going to say, anyway, you can find me at farmtoforkmeatriot.org, farmtoforkmeatriot.org. I am shadow banned and blocked and being deleted on all my platforms. They're just starting to delete all my stuff. It's kind of like ridiculous. I'm just teaching you how to eat meat and posting stuff about how meat heals, and they don't like it. So I am in the process of building my own platform, and it will all be found on that farmtoforkmeatriot.org that I just gave you. So I would say follow me everywhere. You can try to follow me somewhere on Instagram or wherever. I'm Niti the Pharmacist everywhere. or just Niti Bali on Facebook if you are still there. I started to go to all the different like Odyssey and 100 million other things. And frankly, I was exhausted because I'm physically doing so much stuff here. And I'm like, I'm just going to build my own platform and you guys will just find me there or you won't because I can't be in 12 places. And
Yeah, drive it all to one spot.
I'm too tired. I'm just like, just come find me over there, y'all. But
I love it. Okay, I'm Brian. Food Forest Farms. My new streaming stuff is all at Scramblin' University. Having a bunch of fun doing that. And then for the things that you're not, let's see. CBD bath bomb.
Nice.
Oh, my greatest and latest one that I finally found a name for it. You're gonna love this.
I've seen you had that online the other
plain
day.
cream. It does, get this, FDA, pay attention, Fed guys,
Literally.
absolutely nothing. And now available on my website. You'll
Nice.
figure it out. All right. I think that's the end of the Goose Show. Should honk it out?
Thanks
Cheers.
for having me, guys.
Oh, Firon.com.
Bye, guys. Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Honk, honk.